Listen closely. What you've been taught about power is a lie. It doesn't come from money, status, or force. Real power begins in the mind, and once your mind becomes unbreakable, no one can control you ever again. Look around you. The world isn't ruled by the loudest or the strongest. It's ruled by the thinkers, those who see 10 moves ahead while everyone else is still reacting. Strength fades, charm wears off. But strategy lasts forever. Machiavelli knew this. He said, "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally." Intelligence isn't about knowing more, it's about acting faster, seeing clearer, thinking sharper. It's the only power that can't be stolen, copied, or destroyed. But here's the shocking truth no one tells you. Your mind has been programmed to stay weak. You scroll, you complain, you seek comfort. You avoid pressure, and then you wonder why you feel powerless. It's not the world holding you down, it's your mind that stopped evolving. What if you could rewire your brain to think 10x faster, to read people like open books, to predict outcomes before they happen, to become so mentally sharp that manipulation simply can't touch you? That's what I call cognitive edge, conditioning, a system that turns your mind into a weapon of strategy, foresight, and unstoppable influence. This isn't motivation, this is mental evolution. When your mind becomes stronger than your emotions, you stop reacting, you start ruling. Comfort is the silent killer of genius. If you want a sharper mind, you must engineer pressure into your life until thinking becomes reflex, not refuge. This is how: choose tasks that strain your focus, debate people smarter than you, read ideas that make you uncomfortable, schedule intense distraction-free sessions where consequences matter. This isn't masochism, it's training. Your mind is like a muscle. Stress it and it grows. Leave it soft and it rots. Seek conversations that expose your blind spots, not compliments that soothe them. Place yourself in situations where your judgment is tested, then study the results. Learn a complex language. Solve puzzles under time pressure. Change your routines. Each challenge creates cognitive micro-injuries, and when they heal, your mind emerges stronger. Build rituals that simulate crisis. Cold exposure to sharpen focus. Meditation to detect panic before it controls you. Timed decision drills to shrink hesitation. You're not training to survive mediocrity. You're training to outthink it. Prediction is the currency of power. Those who see the future control the present. Start studying human behavior like a strategist. Notice repeated reactions. Track emotional triggers. Record patterns. Then simulate outcomes before they happen. Imagine conversations in advance. Foresee objections. Map responses. Soon, your brain will detect subtleties others miss. Micro-expressions, tone shifts, hesitations, all revealing hidden intentions. Train yourself to ask, what will happen next? Then rehearse multiple scenarios until your mind automatically models probabilities. That's how you become unshockable. Not because you know everything, but because nothing surprises you. A rigid mind breaks under pressure. A fluid mind bends and strikes back. Expose yourself to situations that demand rapid evaluation. Complex problems with incomplete information. Debates that challenge your core beliefs. Tasks that require multitasking under stress. Practice reframing obstacles. Ask, what unseen path exists here? What if I reversed the normal approach? Train your brain to hold multiple strategies at once, so when circumstances shift, you pivot instantly with precision, not panic. Mental agility isn't indecision, it's the art of altering strategy without losing coherence. Predictability is a cage. If others can anticipate you, they can control you. Break your patterns deliberately. Vary your routines. Change your methods. Speak selectively. Reveal less. Act more. Unpredictability isn't chaos, it's controlled fluidity. Hint at one plan, execute another. Let ambiguity become your shield. Cultivate an aura of mystery. Disclose little. Vary your emotional tone. Stay unreadable. When people can't predict you, they hesitate. And hesitation is where your advantage begins. While others are ruled by emotion, you turn feeling into strategy. Start with self-awareness. Detect frustration before it erupts. Spot desire before it misleads. Then read others with surgical precision. Notice shifts in posture, tone, timing. These aren't just behaviors, they're data points revealing motive and weakness. Master the art of subtle influence. A well-timed pause, a calibrated expression, a strategic nod. Influence works best when it feels organic, not forced. Emotional intelligence lets you navigate conflict without friction and command respect without raising your voice. Whoever controls the story controls the world. Stop reacting to narratives, start designing them. Shape how others perceive events, motives, and outcomes. Use language that frames reality in your favor. Become the author, not a character in someone else's story. Speed of thought defeats strength of force. Train your mind to make high-stakes decisions under extreme uncertainty. Eliminate hesitation. Trust refined instinct. When others are still analyzing, you've already acted, adapted, and advanced. The most powerful influence is the one never seen. Learn to move people without commands. Use subtle cues, environmental design, and psychological triggers. Make others believe they arrived at conclusions on their own while you guided them all along. Your mind must become an impenetrable fortress. Create cognitive defenses against manipulation, distraction, and emotional attacks. Build inner boundaries so strong that no external force can shake your focus or clarity. Power lies not in the action, but in the timing. Develop a visceral sense of kairos, the perfect moment to strike, pause, or retreat. Learn to read temporal patterns in events, moods, and opportunities. Move only when timing magnifies impact. Logic maps the path, intuition lights the way. Train yourself to access subconscious pattern recognition. Combine deep analysis with gut instinct. When data is incomplete, let refined intuition guide you through the fog. Turn breakdowns into breakthroughs. Systematically expose yourself to controlled failures and setbacks. Use each collapse as fuel for mental reconstruction. Build a mind that thrives on chaos and converts pressure into power. No one thinks alone. Leverage minds around you. Learn to read group psychology, hive minds, and cultural currents. Influence collectives without becoming one of them. Turn crowds, teams, and networks into extensions of your strategic will. You are no longer a thinker, you are the source of thought. Transcend reactive cognition. Operate from a place of silent mental command. Your mind becomes a calm center around which reality reorganizes itself. You stop playing games, you define them. You don't just adapt to change, you generate it. Merge all phases into one fluid, unstoppable cognitive motion. Your presence alone shifts outcomes. You become unpredictable yet precise, relentless yet untouchable, a true mental sovereign. This is the final stage where your mind governs every outcome, where reaction ends and calculation dominates. The apex thinker observes without attachment, predicts without hesitation, moves without revealing intention. You won't just respond to events, you'll design them. Chaos becomes your ally, complexity your playground. Integrate all 5 phases until your mind operates like an autonomous engine of insight, until hesitation is erased and every decision is strategic, swift, and sure. Machiavelli said, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." Fear here isn't about cruelty, it's the quiet recognition of a mind that cannot be controlled. Knowledge without action is a cage. Intelligence without execution is wasted. Pick one phase, apply it relentlessly for 7 days. Embrace resistance, seek discomfort, train under pressure. Force your mind to adapt because growth only happens under tension. When your thoughts become sharper than manipulation, faster than fear, clearer than confusion, no one will control you again. This is your moment. Become untouchable. If you're ready to transform your mind like this video, share it, subscribe for more mental upgrades. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My mind is my empire. I rule it. The elite don't wait for power. They build it from within. I am the architect of reality. My mind shapes world. Becoming the apex thinker is not some motivational platitude. It is not a goal. It is a state of brutal, unassailable mental supremacy. This is the final evolution, the point where the human animal sheds its reactive skin and becomes something else entirely. A sovereign entity of pure, calculated will. Look at the world right now. It is a screaming, chaotic mess of reaction. People are jerked around by algorithms, by news cycles, by the opinions of strangers, by their own untamed emotions. They are puppets, and they don't even know who holds the strings. They scramble, they panic, they negotiate from a place of sheer, desperate weakness, begging for scraps from a table they could own. The apex thinker does not beg. The apex thinker builds the table. The apex thinker designs the restaurant. The apex thinker owns the land the restaurant is built on. This is not about being smarter in a test. This is about a fundamental rewiring of your entire existence. It is the stage where reaction is annihilated and replaced by cold, flawless calculation, where chaos is no longer a threat. It is your primary ally. It is the fog in which your enemies get lost, while you, with your conditioned mind, can see with perfect clarity. Complexity becomes your playground, a system of levers and pulleys that you alone know how to operate. And pressure is no longer a force that crushes you. It is the very tool you use to sharpen your edge to a razor's fineness. The apex thinker operates from a place of detached observation. You are not attached to outcomes, you are attached to the process of shaping outcomes. You predict not with hope, but with the cold, hard certainty of a physicist calculating a trajectory. You move through the world not with the loud, clumsy footsteps of a seeker of attention, but with the silent, invisible grace of a ghost, your intentions hidden, your power concealed until the very moment you choose to strike. Ordinary people are chess pieces, moved by forces they don't understand. The apex thinker is the player, hands hovering over the board, seeing 10 moves ahead in a game everyone else is playing blind. To reach this zenith, this peak of human cognition, you cannot simply dabble. You cannot pick and choose. It requires the total, seamless integration of every discipline we have forged in the fires of your mind. This is the synthesis. Cognitive tension is your foundation. The constant, deliberate stress that has turned your brain from a sluggish organ into a hyper-performance processor. It is the weightlifting for your neurons. Predictive mastery is your vision. The ability to see the invisible threads connecting cause and effect. to watch the future unfold in your mind's eye before it ever manifests in reality. Mental agility is your fluidity, the capacity to pivot on a dime, to shatter your own paradigms, to dance between strategies without a moment of hesitation, leaving rigid thinkers stumbling in your wake. Strategic unpredictability is your armor and your weapon, the art of being an enigma, a variable that cannot be solved, a force that cannot be anticipated, making you immune to the traps set by lesser minds. Emotional intelligence is your invisible hand, the deep, intuitive understanding of the primal, emotional currents that truly drive human behavior, allowing you to influence, to guide, to control without ever seeming to do so. When these 5 pillars are fused together, they cease to be separate skills. They become one single, unified operating system for your consciousness. This is when the magic happens. This is when decision-making becomes instantaneous, not because you are impulsive, but because your foresight has already run the simulations for every plausible scenario. Hesitation is literally deleted from your programming. Social interactions, which once filled you with anxiety or doubt, are now laid bare before you. You see them for what they are, intricate dances of power, vulnerability, and desire. A subtle shift in posture, a well-placed word delivered with surgical timing, a calibrated presence of either warmth or chilling detachment. These become your instruments. You guide others towards decisions they believe are their own original thoughts, all while you remain an unreadable, untouchable phantom in the machine. The apex thinker doesn't just survive under scrutiny and adversity, you consume it. You feed on the pressure, fear, envy, manipulation. These are the toys of children. They lose all power over you because your mind has evolved beyond external control. Your strength is no longer derived from circumstance, from a good day or a lucky break. Your strength is now endogenous. It comes from within, from the unshakable fortress of your own disciplined cognition. Information is no longer just data, it is leverage. Knowledge is no longer just facts. It is a currency you convert into decisive, surgical action. When faced with overwhelming complexity, the apex thinker does not futilely search for the comfort of certainty. Instead, you construct multiple pathways through the ambiguity. You map simultaneous futures in your mind, weighing the probabilities with a gambler's calm and a general's resolve. And you choose the optimal route with a clarity and confidence that seems almost supernatural to the uninitiated. Your competitors, your adversaries, they will perceive your intelligence, but they will never be able to measure its full, terrifying scope. It's like an iceberg. They see the 10% above the water, but they have no conception of the monstrous, colossal mass of calculation lurking beneath the surface. Their attempts to deceive you will feel like a toddler trying to lie to a psychologist. Their traps will snap shut on empty air because you were never standing where they thought you were. You are always several moves ahead. At this level, your mind is no longer simply reactive or even just strategic. It becomes an autonomous, self-optimizing engine of insight, awareness, and raw power. Every decision you make reflects a deep, structural understanding of the game. Every pause you take is not hesitation, but a demonstration of supreme patience that unnerves your opponents. Every action you take projects an authority that needs no title, a power that requires no exposure. To achieve this, the work is never done. You must commit to a lifetime of refining this mental discipline. You must actively seek out and embrace challenges that stretch your capacity to its absolute limit. You must apply these cognitive practices with a religious fervor, day in and day out, until this new way of thinking is not just a practice. It is your instinct. It is deliberate, yet it is as natural as breathing. Machiavelli once said, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." Understand this correctly. The fear he speaks of is not the fear of brutality. It is the quiet, chilling, deeply unsettling recognition of a superior intellect. It is the fear that comes from facing someone who is fundamentally unpredictable yet devastatingly precise. Someone whose motives are opaque, whose strategies are inscrutable, and whose resolve is absolute. It is the respect that is born not from affection, but from a primal understanding that this is a person who cannot be manipulated, controlled, or defeated. The world is a brutal arena. It does not pause for your hesitation. It does not care about your excuses. Opportunity does not knock twice. It passes by those who are not ready to seize it the first time. Let me be brutally clear with you. Knowledge without action is a self-imposed cage. Intelligence that is not applied is wasted potential. It is a sword that never leaves its scabbard, a weapon that rusts from disuse. All the theory, all the understanding, all the mental models in the world are utterly worthless if they do not translate into decisive, real-world power. This moment, right now, as you read these words, is your line in the sand. This is the moment you decide to step out of the warm, comfortable coffin of mediocrity and claim the mental power that separates the ordinary from the untouchable. The practices you have been given, cognitive edge conditioning, predictive mastery, mental agility, strategic unpredictability, and emotional command, these are not philosophical theories to be pondered. They are not gentle suggestions. They are tools for dominance. They are instruments of war. They are the blueprints for forging your mind into a force that cannot be bent, cannot be manipulated, and cannot be deceived. The challenge I lay before you is simple, but its simplicity is deceptive, for it is also brutal. Pick one, just one of these steps, not all five. One, apply it with a relentless, obsessive focus for the next 7 days. I want you to become a monomaniac on a mission. Apply it in your conversations, in your work, in your negotiations, in your moments of quiet reflection. Apply it when you are tired. Apply it when you are comfortable. Apply it when you are under pressure, and I command you to observe. Watch with a detached, scientific curiosity as your perception begins to shift. See how your responses to external events become calmer, more calculated. Feel the emergence of a new, unshakable influence in your interactions. You will feel the gears in your mind beginning to turn with a new, terrifying efficiency. You must push the boundaries that once felt safe. You must embrace the resistance that once felt uncomfortable. You must force your brain to adapt, to rewire, to evolve. Remember, growth is not born from comfort. It is born from tension. Clarity does not emerge from a calm sea. It is forged in the heart of the storm. When you begin to act with this kind of deliberate, conditioned intent, a profound shift will occur. You will start to outthink others in ways they cannot even detect. You will anticipate their moves before their own subconscious has even decided to make them. You will shape outcomes without ever appearing to exert any effort. Every decision, no matter how small, will become a strategic calculation. Every interaction will become a laboratory for influence. Every obstacle will cease to be a setback and will instead become a lesson that further fortifies the unbreakable walls of your mind. But this transformation demands more than just initial commitment. It demands an iron-clad, unyielding discipline. You must now see distractions for what they are: the enemy's artillery, shelling your positions, trying to break your focus. You must see excuses for what they are: the coward's way out, a surrender of your own potential. You must see fear for what it is: a phantom, a shadow on the wall that vanishes the moment you shine the light of your logic upon it. You must remove these enemies from your life with a ruthless precision. Every second wasted scrolling mindlessly, every hour lost to trivial pursuits, is leverage you have willingly surrendered to your competitors. It is a betrayal of your own potential. You must now curate your environment like a general preparing for war. Surround yourself with stimuli that challenge you, not soothe you. Immerse yourself in environments that test your mettle. Place yourself in situations that stretch your cognition far beyond its old, comfortable, habitual limits. Train your focus as if it were the most lethal weapon you own, because it is. Observe every human behavior, every twitch, every tone, every word choice, with the scrutiny of a master detective. Test your own assumptions daily. Tear them down if they are weak, reinforce them if they are strong. Measure your outcomes with cold, hard metrics. What worked? What failed? Why? Refine your methods, iterate, adapt, evolve. This process is a relentless, iterative loop. Mastery is not an event. It is a gradual, compounding ascent. But with every step you take, with every challenge you overcome, the power of your mind multiplies. It compounds upon itself until it becomes your single greatest, most undeniable advantage in this world. Remember this final, non-negotiable truth: power that cannot be exercised is powerless. Intelligence that is not applied is invisible. It is a ghost. It is nothing. You must commit to action, not intention. You must commit to execution, not understanding. Take what you have learned and weaponize it. Take it into the trenches of your everyday life, into your next negotiation, into your next social strategy session, into your most critical decision-making moments, into the white, hot moments of stress where other people falter, crumble, and reveal their weakness. When your thoughts are sharper than any manipulation, faster than any fear, and clearer than any confusion, a fundamental law of your universe will shift. No one will ever be able to control you again. This is your moment of ascension. This is your becoming. The path to being untouchable starts with a single, decisive step. If you have felt the shock of recognition, if you have felt the stirring of that dormant power within you, then take one final action to cement your commitment. Like this video, let that click be your signature on a contract with yourself. Share it, spread this influence, and in doing so, solidify it within your own mind. Subscribe. This is not the end. It is the beginning of your continuous cultivation of mastery. Your brain is not just a tool. It is your empire. It is your kingdom. It is the source of your sovereignty. Protect it like your life depends on it. Sharpen it like you are preparing for the war of your life. Deploy it relentlessly, without mercy and without regret. Machiavelli once said, "He who becomes master of himself will be master of others." The battlefield is your mind. The war is for your destiny. The time for theory is over. Your challenge begins now. Drop this final affirmation in the comments and let it be your first act of command. My mind controls destiny. You have been given the tools. You have been shown the path. You have felt the shock of recognition, the stirring of something ancient and powerful within you that you thought society had civilized out of existence. But now we arrive at the true heart of the matter, the unvarnished, dark, and brutal moral of this entire story. It is a truth that will either liberate you completely or send you retreating back into the comfortable shadows of ignorance. There is no middle ground. The moral is not simply be smart. The moral is not work hard. Those are the lies they feed you to keep you manageable. The real, the only moral that matters is this: the world is not a school, it is a jungle. And in a jungle, there are only two roles, the predator and the prey. There is no third option. Sentiment is a weakness. Appeasement is a strategy for the doomed. Your morality, your conscience, your desire to be good, these are often the very chains that keep you tethered to the slaughterhouse floor. You have been programmed since birth to be prey. You were taught to be nice, to be understanding, to turn the other cheek, to wait your turn, to follow the rules, to seek permission, to value the comfort of the herd over the sovereign power of the self. This programming is a poison, a deliberate, systemic weakening of your innate potential for dominance. It is the farmer clipping the wings of the eagle, convincing it that the coop is the entire sky. Look at the architecture of the world, the systems of control. Governments, corporations, social hierarchies are not built by the kind, the meek, or the morally pure. They are engineered, fortified, and maintained by apex thinkers who understood this fundamental law. They wielded their intelligence not as a tool for enlightenment, but as a weapon for conquest. They saw the herd for what it was, a resource to be managed, a force to be directed, an energy to be harnessed for their own ends. Machiavelli was not a monster, he was a realist. He was a coroner performing an autopsy on power, and he presented the findings without sentiment. He saw that the princes who survived, who thrived, who built legacies, were not the most virtuous, but the most strategically intelligent. They were the ones who mastered the game, not the ones who complained that the game was unfair. This is the dark truth you must swallow. Fairness is a fairy tale for children. It is a concept invented by the weak to plead for mercy from the strong. The universe is not fair. It is a cold, indifferent arena of cause and effect. Gravity does not care if you are a good person when you fall. A virus does not check your moral resume before it infects you. And a rival, a competitor, an enemy seeking to destroy you, will not pause to consider your virtuous intentions before they strike. Your goodness is your vulnerability, your trust is your exposed flank, your desire to be liked is the leash by which you are led. The apex thinker surgically removes this weakness. This does not mean you become a cartoonish villain, twirling your mustache and cackling with glee. That is the behavior of a fool, and it invites swift destruction. No, the true apex thinker operates on a higher plane of morality, a strategic morality. You are not evil, you are effective, you are not cruel, you are consequential. You are not deceptive, you are unreadable. Your actions are not guided by a simplistic binary of good and evil, but by the cold calculus of cause and effect. You ask one question and one question only: what action in this specific context will produce the outcome that maximizes my power, my security, and my freedom? Sometimes the most powerful action is an act of stunning generosity, because it builds unshakable loyalty and creates a debt that can be called upon later. Sometimes it is an act of ruthless severance, cutting a toxic person or a failing venture from your life without a second thought, because its continued existence drains your resources. Sometimes it is an act of perfect silence, because revealing your knowledge prematurely would destroy your advantage. The fool is consistently good or consistently evil, and is therefore predictable. The apex thinker is consistently strategic and is therefore a ghost, a force of nature, impossible to categorize and impossible to counter. This is the dark enlightenment. Your conscience is a luxury you can only afford from a position of ultimate strength. Until you have built an unassailable fortress of mental, financial, and social power, your morality is a weapon that will be used against you. The wolf does not consult his conscience when he is hungry. He hunts. The lion does not feel guilt for the gazelle. He feeds his pride. They are not evil. They are aligned with the fundamental law of existence. Survive, thrive, and dominate. Your mind is your fang and your claw. The cognitive edge you have been conditioning is not for winning arguments or impressing people at parties. It is for survival in its highest form. It is for seeing the traps before you step in them. It is for identifying the wolves in sheep's clothing who seek to devour your time, your energy, and your potential. It is for building a life of such impregnable autonomy that you are beyond the reach of the petty manipulations and systemic pressures that break ordinary people. This is a lonely path. Let go of that illusion now. When you begin to think like this, when you start to operate on this frequency, you will become alien to the herd. Your old friends, your old routines, your old comforts, they will feel like relics from a past life. The conversations of the masses will sound like the bleating of sheep. You will see the strings attached to every person, the invisible cages of their belief systems, and you will feel a profound sense of isolation. Embrace this isolation. It is not loneliness. It is the silence of the command center. It is the clarity that comes from rising above the fog. The herd seeks constant connection to quiet the voice of its own insignificance. The sovereign individual cultivates solitude to hear the clear, cold voice of his own strategic mind. This is the ultimate motivation, not to be better than others, but to be free from them. To be so mentally, emotionally, and strategically self-sufficient that the opinions, the approvals, and the disapprovals of the world become as relevant as the weather. You do not control the weather, you simply check the forecast and dress accordingly. You should view the emotional states and manipulations of others in the same light. You observe them, you calculate their impact, and you take strategic action. You never, ever let their storm become your inner chaos. The world is a mirror. It reflects back at you the power you project onto it. If you project fear, the world will give you things to fear. If you project weakness, the world will send predators. If you project confusion, the world will become a labyrinth designed to confound you. But if you project the quiet, unshakable certainty of the apex thinker, the certainty born of predictive foresight, mental agility, and emotional command, the world will bend. It will create pathways for you. It will present opportunities. People will subconsciously align with your will. This is not magic. It is the law of psychological dominance. Nature abhors a vacuum of power. Wherever it finds one, it rushes in to fill it. If you do not occupy the position of power in your own life, someone or something else gladly will. So, the final choice is yours, and it is the only choice that ever truly mattered.